This happened about 2 years ago when I was living alone in a small house on the edge of town. The neighborhood was quiet, and the nearest house was a good distance away. Most nights were peaceful, maybe a little too peaceful. One night I suddenly woke up for no reason. At first I didn't understand why, but when I checked my phone the time was exactly 2:17 a.m. That's when I heard it. 3 slow knocks coming from my front door. Knock, knock, knock. At first I thought maybe I imagined it or maybe it was just the wind, but then it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. Now I was fully awake. No one ever visited me that late, and there was definitely no reason for someone to be knocking on my door in the middle of the night. I slowly got out of bed and walked into the hallway. The house was completely dark except for a faint light coming from the street outside. As I got closer to the front door, something felt wrong. There was no movement outside, no shadow under the door, and no sound of footsteps, just complete silence. I looked through the peephole expecting to see someone standing there, but the porch was completely empty. No one was there. I stood there for a few seconds, feeling a little stupid for getting scared, and turned around to go back to my room. Then suddenly I heard another sound, but this time it wasn't coming from the door. It was coming from the window next to the door. Tap, tap, tap. My stomach instantly dropped. The window had blinds covering it, but one of them was slightly bent. Through that small gap, I looked outside, and what I saw made my heart start pounding. There was a man standing outside my window, but he wasn't tapping on the glass with his hand. He was tapping the window slowly with his forehead. Tap, tap, tap. His face looked pale, and he had this strange smile on his face. The creepiest part was that he wasn't even looking at the window. He was staring directly at the front door like he was waiting for me to open it. I completely froze. There was no way he should have known I was standing there watching him. Then suddenly he stopped tapping. Slowly he turned his head toward the window. Toward me. Through that tiny gap in the blinds our eyes met, and his smile slowly grew wider. I immediately jumped back and ran to my room. I locked the door and grabbed my phone to call the police. While I was on the phone with them, I suddenly heard the sound of the front door handle shaking. At first it was slow, then it started shaking harder, like someone was trying to force it open. My heart was racing and all I could do was wait. About 10 minutes later, the police finally arrived, but by the time they got there, the man was gone. They searched around my house but couldn't find anyone. Before leaving, one of the officers told me something that made the situation even worse. He said they found muddy footprints on my porch, not just near the front door, but also directly under my bedroom window. That meant the man outside wasn't just standing at my door. He had been walking around my house the entire time, looking for another way inside. And sometimes, even now, when I wake up suddenly in the middle of the night, I still feel like I can hear someone knocking on my door.